What would you do if your stepson routinely disrespected your family, destroyed property, and then ran to his biological father, who enabled his behavior? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My biological daughter, Susan, who is 12 years old, has a profound love for collecting and reading old children's books. It's been incredible to witness her transformation into an avid reader. Before, she struggled with reading and learning, and we were advised to encourage her to read more. Since she started reading regularly, her skills have significantly improved. She even reads to her 2-year-old sister, Lily, every night, a cherished ritual for them both. Then there's my 16-year-old stepson, Leo. He can be quite the hothead. Our relationship isn't exactly father-son, but there's a mutual respect, even though he often acts mean and selfish toward me and his sisters. Leo has a habit of throwing away our belongings during minor arguments. He also teases Susan relentlessly about her reading, mockingly calling her grandma. My wife, Sarah, and I have had numerous discussions about Leo's behavior, and we've agreed on various punishments in the past. However, whenever Leo causes trouble, he simply bolts to his biological father's place. His dad, Mark, then calls me, yelling at me for even attempting to discuss a suitable punishment. It's incredibly frustrating because Leo always returns a few days later, expecting to be let off the hook every single time. This cycle reached its breaking point 2 weeks ago. I was at work when I received a frantic call from Susan. She tearfully explained that Leo had taken her entire book collection and thrown them into our swimming pool. His reason? Susan had refused to lend him and his friends her camera for a trip. Sarah managed to retrieve the books from the pool, but they were soaked, and some were even torn. It was horrific. Many of those books are incredibly rare and difficult to replace, holding immense sentimental value for Susan. They were a part of her life. I was furious. I rushed home, intending to have a serious conversation with Sarah to decide on a fitting punishment for Leo. But by the time I arrived, he had already packed a small bag and fled to Mark's house. I asked Sarah how she could just let him run off after doing something so destructive. She explained that Leo had called Mark, who came to pick him up immediately after Susan told Leo the first was coming home to deal with the problem. I drove straight to Mark's house, but he flat out refused to let me see Leo. I told him that Leo was clearly hiding from the consequences of his actions. Mark, however, tried to justify Leo's behavior by blaming me and Susan for how we supposedly treat him. He even went as far as to threaten to involve Child Protective Services if I ever tried to punish Leo again, claiming I had no right since I wasn't his biological father. He added that what Leo did was merely a reaction to my daughter being mean to him. Then, Mark told me to leave, stating that Leo wouldn't return home until I promised, in writing, not to punish him for what he did. At that moment, a chilling calm settled over me. This reveals Mark's greatest fatal flaw, his blind enablement, which ultimately sealed his son's fate. I looked Mark dead in the eye and told him, "Then Leo can stay here with you. He's not to come back until he receives proper punishment." Mark immediately argued that it was also Sarah's house and called her. Sarah then asked me to just let it go and said we'd figure out another way to resolve it. But there was no way I was going to let Susan's cherished books be ruined and let Leo get away with it. Everyone was asking me to let it go, but I knew that doing so would only embolden Leo to do worse things in the future. 2 weeks have passed since then. My in-laws have been calling me out of line for banning Leo from coming home, constantly telling me to step back, but I've refused. Leo's dad firmly believes that because I'm not Leo's biological father, I have no right to punish him for anything he does in our house. In the past, Mark has even caused issues when I've tried to confiscate Leo's electronics, which Mark bought. As punishment, I've constantly been talked out of punishing Leo every time he did something unacceptable, whether it was towards me or his sisters. I even arranged for family therapy, but Mark refused to let Leo attend. My in-laws mentioned that Leo is willing to apologize to Susan, suggesting that this should be enough to put the whole incident behind us, but I've consistently said no, and for that, they're blaming me. One top comment resonated deeply with me: "If your stepson continues to get away with hurting Susan with no consequence, Susan is going to suffer greatly. This is a hill to die on. This isn't just about books. It's about protecting my daughter and teaching Leo that actions have consequences." As another user rightly pointed out, if you let this go, it'll show your daughter that she means nothing and can be stepped on whenever. It'll also show Levi he's immune to punishments and he'll keep doing it. Do not let him get away with this. For the sake of your daughter, Leo made a foolish decision at that moment, completely unaware that this single act would lead to his own downfall. Another comment offered a practical suggestion: file a complaint in the small claims court for the value of the books. Keep it up with everything he destroys. When Biodad is on the hook for paying for all his destructive behavior, he'll change his tune. This idea certainly offered a path forward beyond just waiting. The moral of this story is clear: standing firm on your principles, especially when protecting your children, can be a lonely but ultimately necessary path. What would you have done in my situation?